What makes a guardian a guardian? We take our first breath with no memory of who we were before. Yet, we are inexorably drawn to the light. We fight, we die, and we live again. We know that we were chosen for a reason, by something greater than ourselves. For as deep and wide as humanity's rivers have run, it has now been reduced to a precious few, needing something to believe in, and a place to call home. This is what we have been called to, the future that we fight for. The future we will protect. Shaped by the fires of each new battle, we are forged and sharpened into what we must become for the fight ahead. What we have built is only the beginning, a symbol of what we can achieve, of who we are and our great purpose here. But the day may come when we will be tested, when all we hold dear is threatened. And then we will see what each of us is truly made of.
Hey everybody, Cruel Hollow here. Thanks for joining me again. We just had the Destiny 2 Worldwide review, and I would like to welcome everybody who decided to come and check out my video. There's probably a couple dozens or so videos, but I'm glad if you came in here, just check in to get a second opinion. I'm glad you stopped in because while I may have some opinions based in this, I really just wanted this to be a breakdown of the reveal. If you were away and you didn't have the time to watch it, or maybe you just wanted a second opinion on the reveal and all the gameplay that we saw. So I just wanted to go over some of the bullet points of the game. First off, they said for the Destiny World 2 reveal, we got that trailer the trailer I just showed you, the opening cinematic, which I'm assuming is probably going to be the opening cinematic for Destiny 2. In the beginning, it'll be the first thing you see. And we'll get a little bit of gameplay, which you'll probably see on the screen now, just as some overfiller, and I'll just pop in some things of what I'm talking about will just be up on the screen, so look out for that. But you can feel free to just listen if you want to have just bullet pointed to you. But they said we had Luke Smith come up, was the first person, I believe he's the creative director on this title. He was the creative director on The Taken King. And I believe they were the original creative director for Destiny when it launched, and he was, integral in the ranking of the Vault of Glass and the Oryx raid. But they had him come up on stage for a little bit, which you see, and they actually had him just kind of, almost bullet point stuff for everybody there. It's like, we're going to have new things to do. They said that there's going to be more to do in this game than any other Bungie game they've made. And that's a big statement, so I'm hoping that carries through till, Destiny 2 when it launches. But they talked about everything from strikes to Crucible to patrols, and how those have changed up, even new subclasses. But let's go ahead and talk about what maybe a lot of people were interested in the most, which were, what are the new subclasses, especially for me, which is maybe one of the more interesting things. What were the new subclasses? There had been a leak a little while ago about a picture of like a snake for the hunters, a lion for the titans, and a bird for the warlocks, but I was assuming this was probably going to be like a phoenix or a hawk or something. But it looks like it has maybe a little bit of both, like a hawk phoenix or phonics. But regardless, anything other than that, it's just that we get the new subclasses. We got Dawnblade, I believe, for the warlocks. Yes, Dawnblade for the warlocks, and it looks like it functions it looks aesthetically very similar to the Sunsingers, where if they, go ahead and pop their super, they get wings. The wings just end up, going all around them, but they get a sword this time, and the sword they can actually use to shoot what looks like energy waves across map to hit various enemies at range, but it also looks like they used a move that can slam down onto the ground and then just kind of do an AoE effect damage. We also see a little bit in the gameplay video, which hopefully is showing up right now. We got a little bit of the abilities that the Warlock is going to have, or at least that class has. They have, of course, their grenade, what their super looks like. We see the new interface for the Guardians and how that's evolved. But we also see I believe we see a thing where she throws or creates a pool of light that I don't know if it's an area of effect attack. We don't really have a lot of information as this is just the reveal, but we do see that it does something. I'm hoping, personally, and I have another friend that I play with on Destiny 1 and raid with, I'm hoping to God that it's some sort of support-like ability that they can use to support teammates, because while Destiny 1 maybe didn't need a, tank, healer, DPS, it didn't really have shades of even a little bit of that. The Sunsingers did suffer from getting nerfed and kind of not really having a place. They weren't super supportive. The res was nice on certain situations, but not always could they use it. And like my friend would constantly hold on to his Sunsinger just in case we needed to revive. And there were some instances where we maybe could have completed some content if he was more aggressive or supportive with that ability. So I'm hoping that'll fix a lot of the problems that Sunsingers have had in the current game of Destiny. Next, move on to the Hunter. The Hunters became Arc Striders, and this looks like this is going to be an extension of Blade Dancers in some way. Instead of a knife this time, it looks like they have a javelin or a staff. They said staff on the conference, but it looks like a javelin, something they maybe even can throw for a range attack. Definitely looks a lot like Blade Dancer. Not a ton to say on that. I don't personally play Hunter, but we didn't see a ton of the Arc Strider other than him just kind of whomping on stuff at close range and dashing around a little bit. We didn't see a ton of the abilities for it. So I won't say too much there for what we haven't seen. The next up is the Titan, and that is called the Sentinel. And it turns out that, if you remember a little while ago, there was some leaks of pre-Destiny 2 concept art, and we actually saw all these classes. The Warlock with the Dawn Blade, he had a Phoenix Wings and a sword. The Hunter was covered in fire, but it was a javelin of some sort, so that's close. And the Titan was carrying a shield. And it looks like this shield would basically make you Captain America. You can effectively hold it up like the artifacts can in Destiny 1 and shield people behind you, and people can actually shoot. And they show a Hunter and a Titan walking, and the Hunter's firing behind him while the Titan, I'm guessing, just holds it up and blocks bullets that are coming through. But we also see that he can chuck it, and it can apparently ricochet off of opponents, very Captain America style. I like it a lot. And it just bounces around and hits stuff. We've also seen passive abilities where it looks like they can set up sort of like a fortification in front of them, of like a little wall that maybe they can shoot through, or that just blocks bullets, almost like a half Titan bubble, but you can shoot out of it maybe. But we didn't see a little bit more of that. He just uses it a couple times, and they just kind of go like, ooh, look at this, show it off. But nothing super serious on that. They talked a little bit about, well, let's go over the strike real quick. I'm hoping, believably, there's going to be more than a strike. That would be really disappointing. I highly doubt there's going to be only one. But the one that they did show off was called the Inverted Spire, and it's a Vex Stronghold strike. I don't remember what planet it takes place on, but I do remember the big thing was it's going to be a 3-stage boss. So, much like a raid or any sort of high-end activity, the bosses, it seems like Bungie has said, you know what? Bosses with multiple stages are really, really cool. I really want this to be into the game and to be concurrent and just keep going through all the titles and make the bosses feel like big deals when you fight them. And they kind of started that with Taken King. But you have continued to enforce it through everything of Rise of Iron and to Age of Triumph, which, while not revamping everything completely, did add an extra little step or stage or thing you might have to keep in mind when fighting the big raid bosses, like the Templar and Atheon and Crota. So we got the new strike there. We had Crucible, big update for Crucible here, and that Crucible has gone from a 6v6 to a 4v4. This is, again, apparently in the new HUDs, well, let me just say, the crowd's reception was pretty good. I'm hoping that the 4v4 doesn't maybe take off the people that were maybe big into the Call of Duty scene, and we're really liking how much of the DNA of Call of Duty was in Destiny 1. I, for one, while a PvPer, I didn't do it religiously. It was a nice little activity. I'm definitely more of a PvE guy, which I'll get to later as something really excited me. But the 4v4 PvP, I'm not mad. I'm not mad about. I think it's a good addition. I think it's worth having in. It's different, and I'm fine with them doing different things. That's the whole point of sequels. If a sequel was literally the first game again, people would be sad. People would be disappointed, and I'll maybe talk a little bit about that at the end. But we have a new attack and defense mode. I believe it was called Countdown. They said it was their only attack. It was their first attack and defense mode for Destiny. And I'm guessing it's maybe going to be like Capture the Flag, but it's not really their first attack and defense mode, because they've had things like Rift, and Control in its way is kind of an attack and defense mode. You kind of have to make sure those points are capped and stayed on your side, and you have to attack if you don't have as many. Rift is kind of the same way. So while I don't know if I would say it's their first attack and defend mode. It is nice that we are seeing something different. We're not just seeing a 4v4 Rift or a 4v4 Control, though I'm sure Control will come back. But I'm glad to see some new Crucible options. Not much else on that front at the moment. Next off, we're going to start going right into patrols and just kind of the world building. We saw a little bit of a glimpse of the map, which hopefully will pop up right here, of the little markers, and maybe we get a little bit of an indication how big the map might be this time around. It looks very much like the older maps, maybe a little bit wider, and they've said that the European Dead Zone is their biggest map they've made since, I guess in the Destinies, of the two Destinies, it is the biggest. They said about a 2% wise increase. But we'll see how that holds up. But what I'm really, really interested in is all the new patrol activities. And I've talked to my friends for a long time when we were playing Destiny. I was like, you know what? Patrol doesn't mean anything. I haven't gone on patrol in Destiny in probably 11, probably a year, to be honest. After, maybe not a year, but after kind of the progress stopped on Rise of Iron, I just didn't feel a lot of reasons to go patrol for much of anything. But what they're going to introduce into patrol is going to be heroic public events. So these public events will have heroic, of course public events are back, obviously, but heroic modifiers or heroic things that you have to achieve, that maybe if you complete these heroics while doing the public activity, you'll get more gear, you'll get better things and faster things and stronger things, and that's what, obviously you would wanted. But they also have this interesting thing that I'm super, super into, and was what I like the most about the presentation, besides one other thing, but this was definitely number one, was something they called Lost Sectors. And what Lost Sectors look like are going to be mini dungeons. Almost like you could go like, hey, we should go see that cave over there, let's go check this thing out. You go in there with your teammates, you see this emblem, you're like, okay, this is something, we should go in here and explore. Apparently, it's like a little mini dungeon. I'm hoping that you'll go in, and they've said that there's going to be a boss there, and you're going to have to kill this boss. You'll take the key, and there's going to be chests in there, and you open it, and you get loot, and you leave. But I've loved this, because everything in the original Destiny, at least for me in Patrols, felt very non-organic. Everything felt very linear. It felt like we were being around robots. And hopefully introducing this Lost Sector in the sense of discovery and never being to this, section before, and maybe you've never found this thing before, really gives the game some organic to it. It really makes it feel real and natural. It doesn't feel linear. It doesn't feel robotic. It doesn't feel led on. So I'm super excited for the sectors. We've gotten, I believe, 4 new worlds to explore. We're going to have Titan, Earth, Nessus, and Io. I believe it's not EO. I'm assuming it's Io because there's no E in it. So Io. Earth is going to contain, I believe, the European Dead Zone, which I've already said is one of their biggest places. They've also going to have the next planet, which is Nessus. It's going to be basically the Vex planet. It looked from the art, or at least from what we saw of the game, almost kind of Venus-y. It's very Vex inspired, but again, maybe that's just the Vex have been on both planets, Venus and Nessus, for so long that they've just kind of almost terraformed the planet to look like its specific style. And not to say, if just to let you know, we're also apparently going to have to find Cade here, as the Vanguard has split up. But Cade 6 apparently is going to be on this planet, and we're going to have to go wrangle up the Vanguard to get them back on their feet, because they've been knocked down too much by the Cabal and the Red Legion coming in and decimating the city and crushing their confidence. We're also going to go to Io. This is going to be where Jupiter. This is going to be a moon of Jupiter, I believe, and we're going to find Ikora there. We don't know much else other than that. Apparently, they said that Io is something that the Warlocks like. It's a planet they seem to enjoy or feel accustomed to. So, hopefully we'll get a little more answers than that when the main game, or maybe we'll get like a little live stream before the game launches, a month or two, and we'll explain more about the planets. We'll have a planet podcast, or planet stream. And then Titan is going to be one of Saturn's biggest moons, and it's going to be where Zavala is. Again, we don't really know why he's there at all. We don't really know why Cade's on Nessus. We don't really know why Ikora's on Io, but we don't know why Zavala's on Saturn's moons. And then obviously the European Dead Zone, where they're going to introduce Hawthorne. We've heard a little bit about Hawthorne. She had a bag in the super uber duper collector's edition. And we actually get to see her face now, and hopefully she's popped up on the screen right quick. And she found this little village in the European Dead Zone, where believably will probably be our first destination, and probably one of our little outposts that they've talked about. But we haven't seen any other outposts on the maps or anything, so hopefully we'll see a little bit of that in the next coming months. The next thing I do want to talk about is going to be the raids. They did say we are going to have a new raid. We don't know what it is yet. I would love to see a raid where the raid is all about infiltrating the old city, and it's ruined now, and we have to kind of slip past the Cabal or fight past the Cabal to get to Gary or Gaul and try to be. Assumedly, he's going to be the big boss at the end of the whole thing. He is kind of is the raid. The raid's a big event. But I'm hoping we go back to the old city, and that's where the raid take place, and that's what we see, all that old stuff and broken buildings, and maybe some memories trigger up, but I'm hoping that's what we see. We're wrapping up the video soon, but real quick, I want to talk about clans real quick. Clans this is a big thing. This is the second thing I was excited for after the mini dungeons, was they're going to have clan systems built into Destiny, and this is something we've wanted in Destiny for a long time, and it's going to be in Destiny 2. So Destiny 2 is going to have this built-in clan system from the get-go. No mobile app. I hope there's not going to be an intense mobile app. Maybe it's just just for vault space or that kind of stuff. But we're going to see hopefully stronger community foundations inside of these games with banners. You can customize your clan's banners, your mottos. It's all displayed in game, and that's going to be great. I cannot wait to get my clan, the Fellowship of Fangs, on Xbox One in there and, just wrecking it, and I cannot wait. That's a great system. I can't wait to design those banners and have fun in there. Real quick, talk about the weapons. The weapons we have, they talked about how we're going to have weapons in slots, so maybe we don't have elementals anymore, but we have 3 slots, as you know, like we do in current Destiny. We're going to have slot 1, 2, and 3, and slot 1, they said, is going to be a kinetic weapon. Now, these weapons are not exclusive. So shotguns will not only be kinetic weapons. You have kinetics, energies, and I call it big guns, but it's like your big gun. So if rocket launchers, miniguns, which we saw, which was awesome. But it's kinetic weapons. So probably like a Suros pulse rifle is your kinetic weapon. And then your second slot will be maybe an energy fusion rifle or an energy shotgun or an energy hand cannon. I mean, it's really just endless on what that could be, and I'm hoping that's some sort of subset for shields. Your energy weapons will be what you use to take down shields, and then your kinetic weapons will hopefully be we'll take and finish them off. And you could probably still use kinetics to take down shields, but it probably won't be as fast, which is going to involve the Guardians just swapping up those weapons on the fly. And I am super excited for that kind of stuff. Big guns, rocket launchers, big things that go boom, blow up, miniguns, things that make you look like a badass. Anything you can really find that's huge and sling it over your shoulder and fire it off. But then they talked a little bit about PC. They had the Activision CEO, I believe, come up on stage, and they were talking about how you were going to get Destiny 2 on PC. I'm assuming if you didn't buy it in GameStop, I'm not sure how that system works because I will be playing on an Xbox. They said that it was going to be Blizzard, that whatever Blizzard's download engine is for the game, it'll be exclusive to Blizzard's download engine, which sounds like it's not going to be coming to Steam. I don't know if this was a good idea. When I heard about it, I was like, yeah, maybe, maybe. I don't know if I'd do that. But who knows? I don't run a big game company, so what do I know? But from my point of view, I just don't know if I'm never big on games being exclusive to certain download platforms on the same console. Or sorry, the same PC. I never liked the Origin from EA. I never liked Ubisoft's Uplay system. Steam just works, and Steam works because people like it, and it's all in one area. You could just pick up the game, download it, boom, it's in your library, you go, it's done, it's over. I don't have to go to, I want to pop open Battlefield, let me close down Steam, open up EA Origins, I'm done with that, let me go play Far Cry 4, let me close that, open Uplay. It's just so many systems, and the more you can streamline that, which is in Steam, people are going to do that. So hopefully that is not going to be a constant thing. I really hope they do bring that to Steam for those people who do want it on Steam and don't have to go to a separate download platform to get it. So there's going to be PlayStation sponsored content. They really didn't discuss what that is. PlayStation sponsored, or has brought in the PlayStations for people to play at the event. But obviously, we already knew that there was going to be PlayStation exclusive content. They didn't talk about any of it in there, but they did reiterate that PlayStation is a big thing for Destiny 2. They showed it up. Boom, Sony. Big and important for it. Activision CEO came out. They're primarily almost a Sony, not a Sony exclusive, but a pro-Sony company at the moment, with the consoles flipping over with Xbox One and PS4. And then real quick, there's going to be, just missed this real fast. The clan system is going to have an in-game reward system. So believe me, whatever you do, you don't have to do the raid. You don't have to do everything in the game. Maybe if you're just a PvPer, you can come in, do some PvP content, and get some rewards for your guild. And I like that they can do that. So they're not pressuring people like, oh, you have to do the raid. Oh, you have to do this content. They're letting, like, you come in, do what you want, relax, play your game, and then help out your friends, and then do that stuff later. If you ever want to get into strikes, hardcore into strikes, or hardcore into trials if that comes back, or hardcore into raids, you can do that. But for now, we want you to be comfortable with what you're playing as, but still reward and help other people. And real quick, I didn't talk about this, but clans. This will probably be the last thing I talk about. Clans guide games. They introduced this when they were talking about matchmaking. A lot of it was like, oh, are they going to introduce matchmaking? This is just something they've actually finally considered. But guide games is going to be something that if, let's say, you're in a raid and your 6th person had to leave because reasons, and you're like, uh-oh, we downs a man. We need somebody else to come in and back us up. Whatever this new system is going to apparently let you have people, I'm assuming, let you know, like, hey, we need one person for this raid. Does anyone want it? And there's going to be an in-game system where solo players can look through clans that are maybe doing activities and say, hey, I want to do this content, and this clan has a really cool banner and a really cool motto. I want to go join them. They can join up, come into the raid, and there's a nice little, hopefully, you have a little meet and greet with the person that came in, because Destiny has such a great community, and we are very, sociable. So hopefully that'll be a really great system. It's not quite matchmaking, which I'm fine with. I enjoy that new system. I'm all for meeting new people. The more times people talk, the better your experience is. And especially for hard content like raids, you do need to talk. And to be honest, you might end up talking for some of these strikes if these bosses are pretty cool, these 3-stage bosses. But that's everything really for now, and I'm probably just going to leave you guys with all this, and you can process this information. I will probably not going to post up the entire thing on my channel. My internet has issues, and it's just, I don't know if I could, if I uploaded an hour video, it would probably take super long. Like, it would take like 3 days for me to get that out. So I'm just going to leave you guys here with this. I hope you go and watch it and on Bungie's Twitch, or on the Bungie, I'm sure it's on Destiny or Bungie's website. You can give it a watch. And I hope you really enjoyed this, and then you came out with some sort of information, and I hope you're as excited for Destiny 2 launching in September 8th as I am. But in the meantime, I will catch you guys later. Have a good one.
Cora, if you tell me this is a practical joke, well, it kills me to say it, but I would be really impressed.
Impressing you, Cade, is the easiest thing I'll do all day.
Cora, what have you got?
Someone or something has sabotaged the Skyline defense systems.
Every sensor beyond the wall has gone dark.
Battle stations! Everyone with me! Now!
Hang on!
Your journey ends here. This enemy has taken our home. And now, they threaten our very existence. But if we attack together, we can take back our home, or we die trying.
All right, Guardian. Time to kick him where it hurts.
Am I right? Am I right or am I right?